Thank you so much for joining us. We are continuing our series as we learned 2 nights ago. After the 15th of Av, we increase in Torah learning as the nights become longer. So I'd like to share with you a very special verse that's often misunderstood. Explain this verse and explain how it's very relevant to each and every person in our day and age today. So it says, "Vayomer Melukim Nase Adam B'Tzalmeinu Kidmaseinu." So what does that mean? It literally translates to, it says, and God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." Now, this verse is a source of tremendous controversy throughout the world, and for that reason, we have to address this issue. Not just because I like controversial things, but I like to clarify things. So it explains that the Abarbanel, which is a traditional, very fascinating insight into the Torah, ultra-rationalist who's also a very deep Kabbalist, explains that this preamble indicates, when it says, "Let us make man," that man was created with great deliberation and wisdom, and God didn't say, "Let the earth make man," or "Let the earth bring forth man." It says specifically that God created man from his inner wisdom and his inner understanding. Now, there's an explanation that explains that when God said to the ministering angels, "Let us make man," so that's when you sing "Let us make man," he's referring to the ministering angels, because everything ultimately goes, as explained from the Rambam, that everything is channeled through the cosmos, but ultimately God is the source of all sources. However, he creates the world in a way that it works through nature and through science. However, God can also overcome and supersede science. So when Moses was at Mount Sinai, he said to Hashem, he said, "Creator of the universe, how could you write such a thing? You're putting the world in a position to misunderstand your Torah, to misunderstand what you're saying. Heretics will surely think this is pluralism, and they'll think there are many gods, and they'll completely misunderstand what you're saying." And Hashem replied to him, to Moshe, he said, "You should write. Whoever wishes to err will err, and instead let them learn from their Creator. And anyone who seeks out Hashem, anyone who seeks out God in a true way, will ultimately find the truth. And anyone looking to blaspheme the name of God will ultimately blaspheme the name of God." And as Rashi explains, when it says "in our image," Rashi means that Hashem had a certain mold for man. God has certain general qualities. And when it says "in our likeness," so this is the idea that each individual person has their own unique qualities and intellectual abilities to understand on their level. In other words, human beings are a specific category, but within that category, we all have a specific, unique identification or a unique contribution. And this is a key element to understand. See, many times when we read this verse, we like to categorize. As people, we like to put things in categories, and sometimes we're judgmental a little bit. But we have to realize, though, no matter where we come from, no matter whether you're Jewish, not Jewish, black, white, Asian, brown, it really doesn't matter, because it says that we're all made in Hashem's, in the image of God, and therefore we all have a certain uniqueness, certain similarity, and certain connectedness that makes us absolutely unique, absolutely bound together. And for that reason, we have to respect each other. We have to understand that we are absolutely connected, and if you hurt another fellow, you're hurting yourself. So we're all made in the image of God. And also being made in the image of God means there's a certain mold for purpose. Right? What does it mean to be made in the image of God? It means that God ultimately has a purpose for the world, and he has a certain system and processes that exist. And we follow those systems and processes, so we are able to tap into our general humanness. Right? God forbid, sometimes we give in to temporal pleasures, and we think our confidence and happiness is defined by different chitzonius or different external things, only to come to find that there's got to be more to life, as they say. So, every individual has a general commonality, has an individual has a kabbalistic or a general purpose. But it also says that we are made in man's likeness. And what does it mean, made in man's likeness? In our likeness means specifically that each individual has a unique contribution in this world. That each person has something the other doesn't. And in fact, that's actually how we're both great and small at the same time. See, on the one hand, because we're made in God's image, we've got to be great, because God is great. God is unlimited. God is beyond any kind of limitation. God is the past, present, and future. God is mercifulness. God is kindness. God is everything good. And sometimes seemingly bad, but which is really for the sake of the good. So man has a tremendous capability to accomplish. In fact, man can be a conduit for godliness. And even though man is limited, through his limited faculties, he can actually perform the unlimited when he's totally incongruent in alignment with God's will and wisdom. In addition to that, we all are also small. And what does it mean to be small? That means when we encounter another human being or another individual, we should recognize that they have something that I don't have or have. Or each individual has something the other doesn't. They have a unique contribution or unique qualities that make them absolutely unique, and anyone who would be in their shoes would never be able to fulfill the mission and purpose in the way they would be able to do it. That's where true humility and confidence comes from. When we're humble before each person, because we see and focus on that positive attribute, and we try and learn from that person, incorporate that attribute into our own life. So therefore, it's important to remember that our true healthy confidence and true healthy certainty comes from the exploration of that question of who are you? What is your unique contribution? What are your unique qualities that distinguish you, that God blessed you with, that make you special over others? Not that because you're better or worse, it's just because you happen to really excel in this area. And as many people say, that instead of focusing on what you can't do, focus on what you can do. And recognizing that and accomplishing and focus on what you can do and strengthening your skills ultimately will help you achieve what you need to achieve and help you recognize that God needs you more than you need Him, and He needs you to fulfill a specific purpose. And knowing that each person has that purpose, and fulfilling your purpose through the diversity, through everyone's unique contribution, kind of like a puzzle, we all participate in our own individual way and make a complete package or complete puzzle that through to the different pieces of the puzzle connected together make a complete whole. And even if one piece of the puzzle is missing, so then all the other pieces are useless. So the idea is that true healthy confidence and true healthy certainty comes from recognizing we're made in the image of God, and that ultimately must be accompanied with a certain humility that every person has something we don't, and that our diversity ultimately creates the unity that this world was created for. Thank you so much.